What if I told you the smartest move in Call of Dragons is doing nothing for a whole year? It may sound crazy, but this is what I actually did. It's not actually full year, but it's like 8 months, which is a decent amount of time, I'm not gonna lie. The moment I start saving and not doing nothing was when the city skin for the defense was released. That was one of the clicks in my head. I'm speaking about this city skin for the mages. That was a moment where something clicked in my head and I was like, maybe I should start saving, even that right now this event is valid, is going to come after 1 or 2 weeks. But if we already have the attack city skin for mages, that was for the people who remember, this city skin was maybe the first city skin presented in Call of Dragons, if I remember right. After this there was for marksman, cavalry, and finally was actually for infantry. So I saw it's going to be a defense, and that moment I was knowing that the third one most likely is going to be HP. And the game didn't actually disappoint me. I mean, the latest city skins for the cavalry, for the infantry. Okay, infantry is a defense because we already get the HP one. For the people who actually missed this city skin, I think it's maybe the best one for the infantry. Not gonna lie. Now, maybe we're going to receive a city skin that is going to be for the attack. And lately, I speak with a lot of people for the infantry. And everybody are saying infantry are becoming extremely strong in Call of Dragons these days. People start showing me some crazy infantry reports that are like over 100k merits for Kuma and Goresh. None of them awakened 4 stars. I really want to point out 4 stars because 5 stars and 6 stars is making the heroes very solid. So from this point I start actually saving for the city skin. I'm just going to share with you a little story that I was having and how I end up having. It may sound crazy, but most likely when the city skin for mages come, maybe I'm going to have like 3,000 days of general speed ups and training speed ups. If the game decides, some people are going to remember we was having an event where the game was giving the opportunity to, for example, building speed ups to be translated in or transferred to training speed ups. And we're at the stage where we don't need researches, we don't need building speedups, we only need training speedups or universal speedups, so we can use these speedups for training. So by the limitation of the game at one point, again, not having researches, not having buildings, we get limited, so we can only train troops at this point. So this hitting the 30 million mark to get like 6 tokens to get the city skin, because at 30 million power push you're going to for sure get the city skin. It makes the things really hard, not gonna lie. So for the WoW spenders, even free to play players, and I know like 2 or 3 people who are free to play and they save for like 1 year for the cavalry city skin. I really don't understand why free-to-play player may go with cavalry, but I actually have a video coming why maybe opening the cavalry is the best solution for free-to-play players, even though that so far the mantra was if you're a free-to-play player you should go with mages. But I'm not quite sure this actually apply anymore in Call of Dragons, especially with the boost that the cavalry get. And you're playing from more safe perspective. You can basically attack half HP retrieving from the battlefield legions and get crazy advantage like this. So first thing that I have to mention about saving speed ups, and you have to start saving it from now, is it's not going to first of all break your elixirs, because if you're like me, by training more troops, that means I'm going to receive more healing, more daily elixir healing. which is completely fine. It's fixed when you're not in KVK and you're not having policy and etc. It's fixed, I think, to 253. It didn't actually matter if you're WoW or Kraken or whatever. Not 100% sure. This is what I heard from other players. So when the KVK star, this elixir is going to expand. Obviously, the maximum is going to be like 2 million per day. So it's really tempting. I don't know if this is the right word, but it's really making the players want to train more troops just to get this free elixir healing every KVK. Because if I right now heal a lot of troops, I'm going to start with way more elixirs per day in the KVK. But the smart strategy is in long term. Now, in my situation, I get Rally, I get Swarmed, which, you know, sends some troops in the hospital. Especially the first time I get Rally, I lose like 210,000 troops. Some of them was tier 4, some of them was tier 5. Obviously, for the people who don't know, the free healing is not coming from the troop count, but also what tier is the troops. So you're going to receive specific amount of elixirs for tier 4, but you're going to receive more elixirs for the same amount tier 5 troops. I want to make clear this because I see some people don't understand it quite well, but the higher tier is your troops, the more elixirs you're going to receive. So the way I'm proceeding is just training tier 4, and when the moment comes, I'm going to make them tier 5. Maybe I'm going to spare some of the troops and they're not going to be tier 5. For example, I plan to save 300k of tier 4. The reason behind is tier 4 is way more easy to be healed. There is a lot of strategy. I think in one of my videos I shared the strategy with a makeaway. This is a seasonal talent that is still in Call of Dragons. It's not something that you know, is going to disappear tomorrow, like maybe Wonk Range Warfare. But with Makeaway, you can go behind the enemy troops. For example, from this castle, you can go directly behind the troops in this choke point. It didn't actually matter, is it your castle or somebody from your Warband castle? You're going to become behind them, and this is going to be the moment where you're going to pop up, for example, Freezing Ring, if I find him. And this thing is going to give you like 10 seconds, nobody can actually attack you. You're going to block them. Maybe with tier 4 troops, you're going to have like extra 10 seconds survivability there. You're not going to make crazy amount of merits, but the purpose of the infantry and why you're doing that is going to be done, and you're going to block the enemy troops. That's why I think not all of my troops from point of infantry is going to become tier 5, but everything else is going to become a tier 5. That's why maybe I think that was the smartest decision I did back in the days, and that was just, you know, save my speed ups. I want to share in this video my personal observation and why I actually decided to save that many speed ups. These speed ups here is going to guarantee me the city skin, and one time you get the city skin, you don't need it to get it again. The game actually make little inflation with the city skins. Let's start from there. I mean, you have the 10% mage attack, everything was 10%, but right now the city skins is actually even more, because you can have, let's get the cavalry one, because the infantry is the same. You have the cavalry, but in the same time you have also the crown, which is giving extra 3%. So we no longer are talking about 10% boosting the cavalry HP or boosting the attack or etc. We're talking about 13%, which little inflate what we are having back in the days when we start competing for the city skins. So I'm expecting some inflation over the city skins, but at the end of the day, you just needed to get it one time, and the moment you get it, you're going to receive like 5 extra HP. From point of mages, I'm expecting again to be a mage city skin. You're going to get like 5%. Now for this extra 3%, am I going to be able to do it, or I'm not going to be able to do it? No one actually knows. It's going to be strongly depend against who I'm going to compete for the city skins, but at the end of the day I'm going to reach one of the ultimate goals that I think is for every player. First ultimate goal is actually opening the tier 5. This is a very, how to say it, very long process. The second ultimate goal is actually getting the city skin. From there, sky's the limit. I think this is the two main goals. Obviously there is another goal like getting the Exemplar for the artifact, getting the VIP 16. I still need like 1.5 million to go from level VIP 15 to VIP 16. But this is very, very long goals. Still, the city skin is also very long goal if you're saving for like 1 year. But for 2 years, I'm very behind in getting the Exemplar. So here we're not even talking about this thing is so long. This thing is so long. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to open this one. Back in the days, to hit VIP 15 or to actually hit VIP 14 to be able to receive 2 tokens per day, I actually spent gems. So what you're seeing in form of numbers here, there is also gems involved here. Yes, I gem VIP points, so I can start getting more faster the 2 heads instead of 1 head per day, which in the if you convert it is going to be, I don't know if it was a good or bad move. I also gemmed the Teatri and arrows. Right now you get Teatri and arrows from the VIP shop. I mean, the game makes some things that I spent back in the days were more easy to be get it. These days they increase also the level of Darkling Patrols and Forts, which obviously is going to give more Teatri and arrows, but this is a topic for other video. Now the good thing here is there is a place where you can get only training speed ups, and by looking the PvE, I just finished my killing Darkling Patrols. I have like 1,880 city spend, combat points spent, and I'm receiving like 254 minutes of 1 minute, which is something like 4 hours and 4 hours and a half. This is only 4 hours and a half getting a training speed up, something that you actually need in Call of Dragons at this level. It's completely pointless to go for the forts. Now, if you're opening tier 5, forts is the way to go, because they're going to give you also training, is going to give you building speed ups, and also is going to give you research speed ups. So the troops is not that important, troop speed up, when you're opening tier 5, but still. Now let's talk about the FOMO, or fear of missing out. I think this is something that the players are feeling. I remember one dude, I'm not going to say names, but he was like, oh my god, I'm going to go for the mage city skin. That was a defense for the defense one. So, you know, it's not actually the HP, something that League of Order is, you know, they're built around the HP, but there was a defense one. So he didn't actually expect a lot of people to go for the defense one for the mages. Well, he ended up to buy all the chests because he jumped on the event. He saw that he's not going to be able to get it in the top 10, so he actually buy all the bundles. So you have to have all the calculations, how far you can go. The good thing is Call of Dragons actually make the things one idea more easy. So if you're getting 30 million power boost, you basically boost 30 million power, for sure you're going to get the city skin. And I think this is something that not many people are, you know, talking about, but this is a game changing for the city skin, because you don't know against how many whales, big whales, krakens you're going to compete for the top 10 places. Which, you know, so I'm so happy that the game actually made this decision. Back in the days when I actually start saving, this thing was not existing in Call of Dragons. So I'm so happy that I made the decision back in the days to actually start saving. And I think for Call of Dragons, just consistency and patience is the winning coin there. If you're consistent and you have your patience, Yes, there is a dopamine hits when you start playing the game. You win this hero, you get a new hero, you get, I don't know, level 2 of the raid skill of the first hero you get. I mean, there is just so many dopamine hits when you're progressing in the game. But at one point, you're going to hit this thing here. You're going to have everything maxed from point of buildings. You're going to have all the research done. It's going to be only troops, heroes, artifacts, and pets. Still, I'm happy that the game make the pets one idea more easy to be get it from point of getting the talent skill of the pet, which is the main spell of the pet, let's be honest. But still, the pet skills is hard to be get it. I mean, you can make a pet 3-star, not going to cost you that much money, basically it's for free. But to get the rest of the skills, you have to be extremely lucky to actually get it one time. And I'm going to share with you one of the, okay, this is not actually the skills, the pet skill or pet skill card. I'm going to just go over some skills that there is just a single, yeah, this one is extremely hard to be get it. I actually get so far like 2 of these spells. Obviously, you have to be lucky when you release the pets to actually get exactly this spell. So, you know, it's a waiting game for the pets, it's a waiting game for the example, it's a waiting game for the VIP 15, it's a waiting game for the tier 5, waiting game for the city skin, just waiting, just so much waiting. And some people may not like it, but this is, you know, there's a games where you just start, you play 30 minutes, like, I don't know, you know, League of Legends, for example. You enter, you play 30 minutes, bye bye, that's all, folks. Here, you just have to stack your progress every day and have a strategy for the future. Now, also, you have to have some, it's not only the speed ups, you have to have something like a power push preparation. And by saving for so much time, when you push once, you're going to be extremely, insanely effective in this push. Not actually many people is going to be able to compete with my 3000 days speed ups. Let's start from there. I saw, like, I don't know, for 4 or 5 alliances, the pushes or the people who sign up that they're going to do some push. Well, I'm going to be honest, not many have like 3000 days ready to spend for a single city skin. So you're also eliminating big percentage from your day-to-day competition. Some people may actually compete in the strongest sword. In the strongest sword is the same. The training part is the part where the people are actually winning this event. And in the strongest sword there is also very nice rewards. I'm not so sure we actually have the strongest sword here. Yeah, we actually have the strongest sword. Oh, it's actually ongoing. But if you go over the rewards, you're going to see that, okay, this is the total. Let me check it out. Yeah, it's like if you're rank 1, you're going to get 200 of Margaret tokens. This is an example. You can change that. On the rank 2 is like 100, 60 rank 3, 50 rank 4, and yeah, it's just on the day 2 the things is actually show up how the things will go in the future. I think that day 2 was actually for the training, if I remember right, how to get points. Oh, it's actually defeating. This one is Legion training. Yeah, at the day 1 you can actually understand who is going to win and who is not going to win. Obviously, this is going to be the top people. You just cannot get more points. You just cannot get more points over day 2, where you're going to do some farming or defeating Darkling patrols or gathering resources. Now, in the power up is going to also include Legion power, but you're already done in the majority of the cases with the building power, tech hub. Back in the days, we actually start Call of Order, the next level, because that was one of the buildings that actually take decent amount of time. We actually started, and it was like just you have to spend 1 or 2 days in speed ups to hit exactly in the strongest sword. timing in the power up, where the building power is also counted. There was a little things back in the days we did, or you basically start training by using this thing here. I'm not so sure it's actually here. I think it's actually here. Yeah, using this 10,000 legion that you're trained, you start each of these castles or training camps. You start with 10,000 for each troop, and the moment where the event starts, you just finish everything. You get pretty decent start there. I mean, there was just so many tricks, tips and tricks back in the days. But right now it's only the city skin that actually matter for me, and I strongly suggest just have this mental discipline in your head and to actually decide your big goal and how to unlock this thing, how to unlock tier 5, how to unlock the city skin. Sometimes you can combine them. You can go for city skin and at the same time opening tier 5. That was maybe the best way to go for. I think it's a very nice way to go. You're going to achieve 2 goals: one shot, 2 rabbits, or something like this, or 1 rock, 2 birds. But yeah, just wanted to make this video sharing my experience with Call of Dragons and why saving speed ups, it can be a game changer for your account. How Call of Dragons is not a game that you play for like 1 week, and what you save in 1 week can achieve greatness. We're talking about the months preparing, and this is maybe the most nice fruits you can gather from your patience in the game. This also applying in the real life for some things in the real life. But yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe, and yeah, have a great day and see you in the next video.